I was sexually assaulted when I was 14 and 18 years old, both times by men who I trusted and cared about. I did not report to the police for many reasons. The main reason was that I could not be certain that people would believe that I was telling the truth. However, because my mom is a counselor, I understood the gravity of the situation, and I did not want to allow what had happened to me to destroy my life. Disclosing to my friends, family, and counselor about my experiences with sexual violence is what has given me the courage to rebuild my life. I wanted to reach out to women and ask them about their experiences with sexual violence and disclosure. I put out flyers asking women to have a conversation with me about this issue. I heard from a diverse group of women, and while not all of them wanted to share their stories on camera, every story that I heard was important and powerful.
I was 15 when I first experienced sexual violence.
I was 13 to 14 years old.
I was 3 to 6 the first time I experienced sexual violence, and then I experienced it again last summer when I was 19 years old.
I had only met him like maybe 3 hours before.
When I was 3, it was my dad that sexually assaulted me, and then this last summer it was just a friend. We weren't very close, but just someone that I met freshman year. We would kind of study in groups together, go to church together. Someone that I trusted and never thought would do anything like that to me.
I actually didn't know him at all.
I was at the beach with my cousin on a summer trip, like for like 3 or 4 days.
2 of my best friends and I went to the lake because one of the girls had experienced a really bad breakup and she said, "I'm just gonna get drunk and go to the lake."
When I was 3 to 6, it happened in my own house with my dad, and then this last summer, this happened in my friend's apartment.
We get down there, we're drinking, we're like very, very intoxicated. At the time, I hadn't had sex with a guy yet. I was with a girl.
I was really drunk off of vodka, and I started drinking beer. He opened one for me, and I didn't think anything about it because, like, if someone opens you a beer, you're like, okay, nothing was in there.
In both of my situations, there was drugs involved.
I do distinctly remember asking at one point, like, "I think you're going to take advantage of me," and he, like, kind of put his hand on my mouth. I was like, "No, sweetie, like, it's okay."
This guy was like, "Let's go down to the beach," and I just tried to tell him, I cannot walk, and I don't know if he even heard me. He just kind of like picked me up and drug me with him. I noticed he was on top of me, and then it went like black.
And finally he left. My sober friend came in the room and like I was sitting on the edge of the bed crying. And she was like, "You know, what's wrong? You know, I thought you wanted that." And I was like, "No, like why would I want that to happen? I don't know him. I've never had sex before. Like, why would you think that I wanted that?" And she was like, "Oh, you've never had sex? I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Like, that's not the point. It's that I didn't want it to happen regardless of whether or not I had sex before."
So when I was younger, when I was like 3 to 6, my mom reported the case with my dad, and basically I was just, the legal system like didn't do anything for me. I fell through the cracks, and I had to see him every single day for the rest of my life after that.
I did not report to the police. I was ashamed. I knew that someone would be like, "Well, why were you doing that? You were drinking underage. You lied about your age, all this kind of stuff. You were out past when you were supposed to be. Like, if a cop found us something, we would have been in trouble."
I knew that if I would have reported that, nothing would have happened. I had no proof. There was no case. And I was also really ashamed that it had happened. So I was like, if I go to the police, it's going to be on record. It's going to be on paper that this happened. And I don't want that. I just want this to go away.
And so when I got older, I kind of I pretended like nothing ever happened, and it was like my dad was just my dad. Nothing happened there. But once everything kind of opened back up, and I had to deal with it all over again, my mom again was the one who made the choice to report for me. I didn't really have much say, and I really wish that I would have. And I think that every victim should have that choice. You go through a period of denial, you go through a lot of shame, you go through a lot of blame, and it's like the fear of, well, is anyone going to believe me? The fear of, did this really happen? Was it my fault?
I don't know if I would have reported it even if I remembered what he looked like, or know where he was from, or know his name. I think the fear would have been too much still.
My friend that sexually assaulted me this summer, I originally was not going to report him just because he was my friend and I gave him the benefit of a doubt. I was like, well, maybe maybe it was my fault partially. Maybe he just doesn't understand what consent means. Maybe just so many maybes and what ifs.
He's still, like, he may not ever know that was wrong, that was rape, that there was no consent, and that I was incapable of giving it. Like, and so as angry as I am at him, like, I'm more angry at the system that's in place that let him believe that what he was doing wasn't wrong.
About 6 months later, I found out that he has actually done this before to another person, and that was what made me want to report it, because I was like, well, if I don't put an end to it now, there's so many other girls that are going to have to go through the same thing. I decided not to press charges legally, but I decided to go ahead and report it just so that the police knew his name, because since I knew that he had done it before, I was like, well, it's likely that if he ever does it again, someone will report, and if they already have his name, it'll be a red flag to where they know, like, oh, this has happened, and so that would really help in the future. It takes a lot of time to heal and to be ready to be in the mindset to go to court and to relive it all over again, because when you report, you literally step back to when it happened and you live the whole thing all over again.
After I told my sister the first time, it hurt. And I think it was because I took 2 months to confront it. Thinking about the situation, stressed me out, made me anxious. But saying it out loud to someone else who wasn't me was the act of confrontation, and that made it real.
I went back home after it happened. My dad was asking how being at the lake had gone, and apparently I was very evasive and just they could tell that something had happened. And so my dad came into my room one night and he was like, hey, Ruth's married to me. I was like, okay, whatever. So we left. We just kind of rode around talking for a while, just about nothing in particular. And then we pulled into our karate school parking lot. It was about 5 minutes away from the house. We pulled in and he goes, he parks, he takes the seatbelt off and looks at me and goes, what happened this weekend? You've been really weird about it. And so I kind of broke down and I told him. And he was, the greatest about it. He was just like, that wasn't your fault. Up to that point, I had not really come to terms with the fact that it was rape. I just said that, I got drunk and had sex with this guy. And he was like, no, you were drunk. You couldn't give consent. He raped you.
The one last summer, there was both alcohol and drugs involved. And I think that might have been one of the reasons why it took so long for me to report. And that's probably a reason why some girls don't report, because they feel like, well, I put myself in this situation, so it's my fault. And it's just so important for victims and just everyone who's drinking or anything like that, for them to know, it's not your fault for drinking. You should be able to drink. It's not, how could I put myself into that situation? It's, how could they do that to me? Something that I learned from when I was younger and when I repressed all of the feelings and all of the memories is that you have to come to a point when you just address it and you allow yourself to feel. And that's something that I've been working on lately, is learning that it's okay to not be okay, and learning that it's okay to take a minute and to be sad, and to realize this is real and this happened, and to realize this isn't who I am, this is just something that happened to me. Support is so important when you go through something like this. I've been so lucky to have very supportive friends through all of it, with counseling and the help of services such as Rape Counselors of East Alabama and Safe Harbor. I just had so much support through this whole process, and talking to other people really is the stepping stone to beginning with your healing process.
I kind of opened up to some of my really good friends about it, kind of in the following year about it, and they were really helpful in it. But I think the most closure that I've gotten from it has been in therapy, and just kind of saying, these things happen to me and everyone else, kind of reaffirming that what my dad had said, that it's not your fault. This thing happened to you and none of it is your fault. You can grow as a person if you understand what you're responsible for and what you're not responsible for.
After you speak to someone the first time, I think that's the worst. But the more you talk about it, it gets better. It's a dark point in my past, but it's easier to talk about, it's easier to understand and cope now than it was before.
If you fall off a bike and you have a giant gash, if you just slap a band-aid on it, it's going to get infected, and later down the road it's going to get worse. You have to go ahead and pour alcohol on it and have that initial pain before you can truly heal from the process.
So I don't know, I never thought about like it helping people, but there are really good points to like telling these stories.
I have learned so much from all of the incredible women that I have spoken with. It can be tremendously challenging to face a trauma that you have experienced. If you have had an experience with sexual violence, I am with you. While not everyone will understand or support you, there is someone out there who will. And whether that is a family member, a counselor, a friend, or someone else, they will hold your hand while you heal. The reality is that 65 to 70% of survivors disclose their experience with someone they know. Only 5% of survivors decide to report to the police, and only about 5.9% of these reports are false accusations. If someone comes to you and tells you that she has experienced sexual assault, listen to her, be there for her, and believe her.